Here with Robert Rosenthal of IlliniBoard.com for the final Sunday No Huddle of the regular season. And what a regular season it was, and what an ending to the year. Now, number 21, Illinois defeats Northwestern 38-28 at Wrigley Field. A cold game, but an unforgettable one. Robert, what were your thoughts about the Wrigley Field experience? Because I assume you're at the 2010 game.
Yeah, I actually wasn't at the 2010 game. My son had something that day, so I was not there. Yeah, so it was... Like the most surprising thing about it is that Northwestern fans aren't that into it.
Right.
Like their administration likes it and they like the Chicago tie-ins, but there were maybe only 8,000 Northwestern fans that made the trip there. They'd rather keep it in Evanston and that type of thing. So it's a little surprising how it doesn't feel like a road game at all. It felt like a home game. You know, there were more people in orange than were in purple. So it's an interesting kind of thing that, you know, your final game's on the road and you go to that stadium and it's not a road game at all. It's more or less a home game. So, you know, it's a good thing for Bret and the Illini because, you know, that one less road contest.
Yeah. A little insider baseball, no pun intended. What I thought was so funny was that we did post-game in the visiting batting cage.
Yes.
Like, what?
Yes.
I don't know where else we would have done it, but I just found that very silly.
Exactly. It really feels weird going down dugout steps to go to a press conference. It's really strange, yeah.
Very strange. Well, the Hat comes home with the hard-fought win over the Wildcats. Aiden Lawfrey has a career game. Pat Bryant ties the single-season scoring record. What are you still thinking about the day after a big win like that?
I mean, the run game getting going was the big thing. They hadn't... I mean, we're going to go some baseball again. Haven't hit the home run ball.
I think every single baseball pun that can be made has been made by somebody in our beat this week.
They just haven't really had those big, long touchdown runs, and then they got 3 of them in this game. And that's kind of what's been missing. You know, for Illinois fans, that's what we all remember about the 2010 game. Mikel LaShore ran for 313 yards or whatever, and it was you know, this massive, you know, take the ball in the dirt on the baseball field in the grass and run it. And that's what they were able to do again yesterday of getting the run game going, hitting the home runs and really putting the game away that way.
The Illini finished the regular season 9-3, the first 9-win season since 2007, which I was actually pretty surprised by. What would you have believed that record back in August?
You know, I looked this up before coming here. So I started doing these Sunday No Huddles at WCIA in 2013.
Okay.
So I did the math. There was a couple years we stopped before the end of the season, a couple of road games we did. I believe this is the 133rd time I've done the Sunday No Huddle, and I've never spoken about a 9-win team.
Nope.
Ever.
Nope.
Not even in 2022, not in the bowl seasons of 2014, 2019. Never have stood here and said, yeah, the team over there across town, the 9-3 team that's solidly in the rankings, will be in the playoff rankings tomorrow or on Tuesday. You know, it's just never happened. So it's hard to adjust to.
Right.
It just hasn't happened in Champaign. There have been these one-year things. 2001, out of nowhere, win the Big Ten. 2007, out of nowhere, go to the Rose Bowl. But there hasn't been this, hey, 8 games in 2022, then back to 5 last year, then 9 regular season wins this year. It's just unprecedented as far as the last 30 years goes, and it takes Illinois fans back to the 80s when there was a fully functioning football program in Champaign. So that's the hardest thing that's the biggest thing when you say 9-3 is like, I, as a fan, don't know how to react. What is this? Like, what do I do with my hands? You know, it's that kind of thing of like, where are we right now and what is happening? Because this is still the 4th youngest team in Power 4 football. They bring so much back next year if they don't lose players to the portal, and that's where it's going.
Knock on wood, for sure.
Yeah, correct.
For fans who have seen so much highs and lows of this program, what does a season like this mean for the program and the program under Bret Bielema?
Yeah, I think it's to be able to do it again is what's really different about this season, I think. To be able to have the solid season with the 8 wins and go to the January Bowl game and then come back 2 years later and do it again. You know, I put the stat out there on Twitter yesterday. You know, 2011 to 2020, Illinois as a program had 18 Big Ten wins, conference wins. Bret Bielema in his 4 years has 18 Big Ten wins. To do in 4 years what took the previous decade, says that this program is finally on solid footing. And so that's really, it wasn't the case even when Ron Turner went to 2 bowl games or when Ron Zook went to the Rose Bowl. There wasn't the case of, if you look at all the conference wins over all these years, consistency has, settled into Champaign. And to say that, to have that happen when all the Pac-12 teams come in, when the Big Ten West goes away, there were all these predictions of, look, when that happens, Illinois is going to have to play Penn State and Oregon the same year and all this stuff, and it's going to start Michigan and Oregon and Penn State all the same year. Boy, you're screwed. That's not going to happen. Well, it just hasn't come to play. This is a 9-3 football team. So it's kind of flipped that script of, hey, the Big Ten West is going away, and when that goes away, Illinois is in big trouble. Well, I don't think Illinois is in big trouble.
Definitely not the case. Well, I have an unfair question for you as we wrap up because I don't have an answer.
Sure.
Do you have a favorite moment from this season?
It's easily for me the Michigan game.
Mm-hmm. I think that's what I would say if I had to.
It's easily for me the Michigan game, and for me it's because of the day. On one half of that, as an Illinois fan, and I wrote this the night before that game, it's always been Michigan. The big losses have always come from Michigan. They're always the bullies that come in, smash our sandwich on the table, hit our chips, knock over our drink and walk away, and it's just been that. So to flip that script and beat Michigan, a Michigan team that beat Ohio State yesterday, to flip that script and beat Michigan, but to do it on a day that was 72 degrees and not a cloud in the sky, and the tailgating was perfect, and it was the 100-year anniversary of the Red Grange game, and all of the other stuff. Yes, the uniforms, everything going into that, the national TV broadcast, Brad Nessler and Gary Danielson dressing up like it's the 1920s. Nessler wearing a hat that had the press thing with the little,
I think we should bring those back. How come we don't wear fun hats anymore?
For all of that to end up with a 21-7 Illinois victory was just perfect. So that will be the lasting image for me from this 9-3 football season.
Incredible. Well, as we said a couple weeks ago, this is my first Illinois football season. We're just going to act like this is
Let's act like
how it's always been and always will be.
9-3 years. Let's go for 11-1 next year. Why not?
Absolutely. Robert, thank you so much for today and for all of the regular season.
You got it.
1 week from today, we'll learn Illinois' bowl fate.